Thus far, we had a look at two route guards, at the CanActivate guard and its neighbor, the CanActivate child guard, and at the CanDeactivate guard. Later in this course, in the modules section where you learn more about the Angular module, we will have a look at other routing related questions and also at guards again, but I'll come back to this. In this module here, there are still two other things I want to have a look at. And the first one is how to get some data, either static data or dynamic data, once a route is loaded. Now, you might correctly say, hey, we learned how to get data, how to get a parameter out of the URL and then use that. But that's not what I mean. I mean that some of your routes depend on data they receive either statically each time they are loaded, or they will resolve dynamically. Maybe I show some examples to make this clearer. Let's start with static data. We got our page not found component here. Now let's say we don't want to use that, but instead I will create a new component, the error page component. So this will be a generic error page, where the page not found component is pretty much limited to, well, 404 not found errors. We could imagine that we reuse the error page for all kinds of errors. So I'll remove the spec.ts file. And here in the template now, I don't want to output page not found or anything like this. Instead here, let's say we have some error message, which I want to output via string interpolation. The issue, of course, is this property doesn't exist as of now. So let's add it here. Let's add error message to this component. And we know it should be a string, but still, what would be the message? Because again, we might reuse this page. Now, for routing, there only is one proper use case you want to target right now, and that is that a route is not found. So in our route setup here, our redirect route here, which redirects to not found, which loads the page not found component here in the end. Here, I will duplicate this and then comment it out so that I have the code stored. Here, I now want to use the brand new error page component. So this error page component, which was generated by the CLI and for which you should add an import here. Of course, you should have also added this to your main app module if the CLI didn't do this automatically for you here and the import too. So with this, we're now loading this not found page, or excuse me, this error page if we target the not found route. Still, the issue is that here we try to output some message which we haven't gotten here. Now, we could reach this page through different hooks or for different errors, but for each error, there is only one message. So in our app routing module, we know that if we have the not found route and therefore a not found error, we will always display the same error message. And we can pass such static data with the data property here. The data property allows us to pass an object here. And in this object, we can define any key value pairs, any properties we want. Like, for example, our message, which is page not found. Now, again, you might say, if I define it statically here and we will soon fetch it in the error page, why don't I define it there to begin with? Because we might reuse this error page. Maybe we got another route reaching this where we want to display a different error, or we have a different logic in our application which might render this page. So again, it might be reusable, but for each use case, there is a specific data field, a specific message we want to pass, like the page not found message here. So with this, we now want to retrieve that whenever we load our error page component. And for this, like params, like query params, we need the active route. So let's inject our activated route here, make sure to import it. And an ng on init, I can then again either assign it by using the snapshot of this route, and then simply the data object where I can now access message. And of course I have to make sure that this property exists, and we do make sure because we know we can only reach this component through this route where we will have this message property set. So this is the way of using it with its snapshot, or just like with params or query params, if this could possibly change while you still are on this page, you want to use your route and here the data observable to which you subscribe, and which will give you this new data object here of type data, some dummy data type you can import from Angular Router, which will in the end give you access to your data or the properties you defined there. So here you could then also set it equal to data message. Both would work depending on whether it may change or not. So yeah, both should work. I will comment out the first use case here, but again, if it doesn't change, using the snapshot is absolutely correct or fine. So with this, we should now bind this, and therefore if we save this and go back to our application, enter some invalid route here, we correctly see page not found, the static error message we passed with the data property. And this is a typical use case whenever you have some static data you want to pass to a route. Now let's move on to some dynamic data in the next lecture.